Hey guys, John Lee Dumas here, founder and host of EO Fire, and you're listening to Bravepreneur Parents Academy with ldquo.
Welcome to Bravepreneur Parents Academy, where the world's most inspiring entrepreneurs reveal their most defining childhood moments and share their legacy for raising brave little heroes who will grow up to change the world. And now, he still reads comic books under the blanket at bedtime. Please welcome your host, best-selling author, award-winning speaker, and self-confessed geek dad, ldquo. You know, like the hotel in Vegas? Yeah, no, that's really his name. ldquo.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Bravepreneur Parents Academy. Today, we get to talk to James Teal. James is the Australian dad behind A Dad's Mission for Success. And with 4 beautiful daughters, you know this man is on a mission. He is a 7-year Navy vet. He's a content partner with Entrepreneurial.com. And James is an expert at helping entrepreneurs build relationships with influencers through video. His videos are hilarious. They connect with the audience, and he's going to teach us today how to use video to completely enchant our customers and the biggest influencers in our industry. So please help me welcome James Teal.
Thanks, Bellagio. I'm super psyched to be here. It's like we said, it's 5:50 in the morning, and I can tell you what, mate, that energy has just fired me up for the rest of my day. So you set me up, mate. You've just, yeah, let's go. Let's get this done. Let's just drop knowledge bombs on your audience.
I'm very happy to call you every day at 5 p.m. as long as your wife won't throw stuff at me.
Oh, 5 a.m., mate. This isn't in the afternoon. This is
5 a.m.
This is morning.
Right.
Yeah, this is morning.
It's 5 p.m. about 3 p.m. my time. Okay, let's do this, James.
Yep.
James, I actually discovered you through, as fate would have it, your videos. I discovered your videos about a couple of weeks ago. They were hilarious, and somehow you managed to pass along some really informative stuff at the same time. How did you get into doing video in the first place?
Well, it's a sort of a long story, right? I got into video probably when I was a teenager. We used to go around, we used to skateboard, and we used to make movies and muck around and stuff. And, life happens. I joined Navy, and I served my country, and then I met my wife, and we've had kids, and I along the way had stopped making video. But recently this year, just in July, I sort of said, you know what, I really want to get back into video. I want to start making some videos creatively. I have all this knowledge. I feel like I need to get it out. Podcasting wasn't doing it for me because, I'm a very visual person, a very sort of, and you can probably tell, mate. You see my videos. I like to wave my hands around. I like to do things. Right? I look like a helicopter sometimes, and video was that medium that provided me the opportunity to do that. And yeah, man, so August 11, I published my first video on YouTube. And from then, it's skyrocketed, man. I've had over, 17,000 views on the videos. For someone who hasn't done them, before that, that's, for me, I feel that's a really good number. And yeah, it was just like a whim. I just put it out there and people are like, oh my God, this is amazing. Right. And then from there, it's sort of evolved. I've done a lot of reading. I've done a lot of researching. I've done a lot of watching as well, because I feel like if you want to do something, you need to study the art. So I've been trying to study it as much as I can and really just absorb everything that's out there at the moment and try and adapt it to my own style, in the fact that I use a lot of humor to convey a point, because I feel that, anything that we do, we have a very short attention span these days. Right. And I always try and drop humor into the points where I think my audience might fall off. So at 30 seconds, a minute, and a minute 30, I try not to keep my videos much longer than 3 minutes. Try and keep them under 3 minutes if I can. And so I drop little bits of humor in at these key points to try and, pique their interest. So they're watching, and then suddenly I'm riding my daughter's bike across the screen for no apparent reason. And they're like, what the heck's this guy doing, man? And then they stay on longer, and then I can deliver the punchline, the call to action at the end.
That's very, very interesting. And, you know, one of our guests a couple of weeks ago, Mike Smith from SunshineDad.com, does improv. And I don't know if you've done improv before, James.
I really want
to. Yeah, you'd probably be good at it. But I got to ask you, though.
Yeah.
I kind of intuitively understand the value of video. It's much more interactive and engaging than text, than photos, even than audio. But what if I'm not funny? Not everybody feels naturally funny. Can they still make video work?
Yeah, I think so, right? Like, and I did a webinar on this yesterday, and I know that you were signed up for that one. But I think I'm not naturally funny. People say, "Oh, James, you're funny." I really only think I'm funny when I've had a couple of beers.
We're all funny then.
Yeah, exactly, right? But I think the kind of humor that I try and aim for in my videos is a little bit, you know, laughing at myself. And I think we all need to have a laugh at ourselves sometimes and not take ourselves so seriously. And secondly, it's just obscure. So it's not like I'm standing there and telling you some long-winded joke about how, you know, airlines are trying to get the price of fares to a low point where you just want to gamble your life. You know, I'm not a professional comedian. I've done no comedian training or anything like that. It's just literally obscure stuff that you wouldn't expect in that particular topic. So my last video that came out last Wednesday was on how to stand out. And I was like, well, okay, I need to do something that, you know, helps me stand out. And so all I did was find a pink shower cap that my daughters wear in the shower, and I put it on my, Peppa Pig, right? Like I just wore it for the intro. You know, and that immediately, people are like, why the bloody hell is he wearing this pink shower cap, right? And it's just having, I guess, it all comes down to self-confidence. And you know, I've done a lot of interviews the last few weeks since these video series started coming out. I've got another 4 to go this week. And it's, you know, everything boils down to self-confidence. If you believe in yourself that you can do something, and it doesn't have to be funny. You don't have to use humor. I just think humor is a really great way of keeping people interested and keeping people on the line. If you're confident in yourself and you're confident in your message, you can do it, right? Like you can sell your message, you can sell your video. You've just got to find a way that is interesting, it's unique, and it stands out.
I like that. I like that. Now, here's another thing, James, that kind of gets a lot of us entrepreneurs. What do I talk about?
Yeah.
Whether I'm trying to publish video once a day or even once a week, what in the world, what should I talk about? Is it going to be interesting? Where do I get my list from? What if I'm not, you know, feeling pumped that day? How do you manage to keep a regular schedule of video after video after video coming out?
Well, man, when I learn the secret, I'll tell you. No, I've got a couple of key things, right? And I'll drop this knowledge bomb for people. Okay, there's a couple of core things that I do. I always try and link my videos into a sort of an evolving theme. Like I really wanted October to sort of be a reflection on ourselves and what we are offering month, right? So that's why I was like, how do we stand out? Today's video, I had an idea and now I've lost it. So, you know, I probably should be more careful with writing it down. I'd like to tell you it's some fancy, I've got all these videos lined up in a spreadsheet, but I don't, right? A lot of it just comes to me on the fly, and I'll probably jump into Evernote and write just down like a title and maybe a couple of key lines. I do have a video framework, and I'll give that as a special gift to all your listeners so they can download for free.
Here we go.
Yeah, and that is basically just a one-pager, and it just outlines how I go about detailing my videos out so that they flow nicely and people stay around.
Love it.
Topic-wise, though, okay, there's a couple of key things that people can do. I did a video, my very first video, go and check it, it's pretty bad, how to find out what people actually want. And that, and all I tell people to do, you know, and this has been talked about, people go to Amazon, search Amazon, right? But go one step further. And I did hear this from Noel Kagan, so I can't take all the credit for this one. Go and check out the 3-star reviews from the top 10 or 20 books in your niche or your industry. Have a look and see if there's any common threads of what people are complaining about that this book missed out on.
Yeah.
And then address those points. And then you've already got an audience, right? People are already looking at this stuff. Secondly, I jump into Facebook groups. I'm in a lot of Facebook groups. See what questions people are asking. You know, if people are saying, look, I don't know how to sell my first product, and you sold a product, make a video about selling your first product, or, you know, the other things I've done, you know, relate business lessons that you have learnt along the way to something obscure. So I did 3 things I learned about relationships from green smoothies. That was a 2-pronged thing, right?
What?
Yeah. 3 things I learned about relationships from making green smoothies.
Okay, I have no idea what the connection would be.
Yeah. Well, exactly, right. And people are like, what the? Yeah. So there's a couple of reasons I did that.
Now I got to see the video. That's gonna mess with me.
I'll send it to you. It's amazing. It's great. There was a couple of reasons I did that one. One, it's obscure, and people are like, how do you get relationships from making green smoothie, James? And, right, so that's one reason, and people are like, okay, you got me, I'll watch it. Yeah. And the second reason is that green smoothies are hot right now on YouTube. You know, people are searching green smoothie recipes. People are like, how do I make the best green smoothie? And I was like, well, if I load my video up with keywords about green smoothies, I might just happen to tap into that market.
Clever.
Yeah.
Clever. I like that.
There was 2 reasons. So that's how people can, you know, I think it's just really thinking outside the box. I don't think we need to overthink it. I mean, people say go into YouTube, type in a couple of words, and the ones that YouTube autofills, make videos about that. But that's what everyone's doing. Right? The whole point of this journey for me and you know, I publish a monthly mission update. So every month I get on there and I just lay down the facts and I say, you know, I made $2.19 in September. You know, I'm not here to pull the wool over anyone's eyes and tell them lies. I'm just like, well, you know what, mate? It's not all peaches. It's not all fun and games. I work long hours to get this stuff done outside of my full-time job. And I made $2. Right? Like, I just want to make sure everything's transparent. And that was the reason of this journey. And that's what I think, if you're open and transparent about your journey, I think that sells better than any other content. And that video's done so well for me because people just relate to it and they're just like, oh, you know, shit, it's not all, you know, roses. And
yeah, you're asking me to be vulnerable in public, James. I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
But a lot of people don't, right? And that is a valid argument. A lot of people are like, I don't want to put myself out there like that. But that's what we relate to. Have a think about the stuff that you've read and you've gone, yeah, you know, I can relate to that. And everyone else who's listening, have a think about the stuff that you've related to best. And I guarantee it's a vulnerable argument, a vulnerable article, or it's someone putting themselves out there in a way that is that's not traditional.
Very true.
We've grown up in this internet society where it's like, oh, just tell them that you've made 6 figures. And you're like, well, what the hell does 6 figures look like? I've never made 6 figures in my entire life. How can I say that I've made 6 figures? But if you are telling the truth and the God's honest truth and you're just laying your soul down and you're just saying, boys, girls, this is exactly what I've done, and it's achieved X or it's achieved nothing, you know, people are going to relate to that better. And I think that's where the drive for me from these videos come, is I just 100% want to take people on this journey. I'm so passionate about helping people that I want to take people on the journey and show them that, you know, it doesn't go right all the time. It's just about a matter of like stumbling through it, figuring it out, and, you know, we'll get there in the end.
You know, I'd love to add to that very salient point that you've made there, James, in that I've learned over the years through trial and error and messing up and observing other people in the industry that the folks who present themselves as the experts, the gurus, right, they're coming down from the top of the mountain to impart their knowledge upon us. A lot of times that rings hollow. It rings phony. We've all been burned too many times by someone who claimed they had all the answers, and it turns out they were just trying to take our money and run. And yet, for some of us now, we feel like, okay, if I'm going to go on video and present myself as an expert, I don't feel like I know it all yet. I don't feel like, you know, I'm at the top of the mountain. I might be 2 or 3 steps ahead of the average Joe, but I don't feel like I've gotten the PhD in my field yet. Yeah. And what would you say to that sort of person?
I would say I'm only 2 or 3 steps in front of you, and I think that's the best place to be, right? So a little bit more about my military stuff. I joined as a sailor and then I commissioned as an officer. So I've seen both sides, right? I've seen the leader side and I've seen the follower side. It's much better from a follower aspect to have a leader who has experienced both sides. And so this is why I try and bring this thing. And, you know, I'm not coming down and saying, oh, hey, I'm a video expert and helping people build relationships. I'm really good at it. because I've developed processes, I've developed experience in it, but I'm not an expert. However, I will give you everything that I know, and I will help you through these steps. Right? I'm not just going to stand here and deliver courses and stuff. Yes, I have a course, but it's only so I can transition into doing this full time rather than doing it on the side, so I can better serve people. And even then, I'm not charging $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 for a course, because I don't believe that the higher the price point, the more value it adds. I think that's a whole nother interview. But something that's affordable that I can make a real difference in, we're talking to parents, right? We're talking to parents, right. And I'm a dad of 4 girls. I don't have $2,000 or $3,000 to go and drop on a course, but I probably have $200 to drop on a course, or $400 to drop on a course. So just be one step, well, not one step. I reckon probably 2 or 3 steps in front of people. But
yeah,
in that way you can relate to the point where they're coming from. I think, right. Like we're talking about influencers coming down from the mountain, they're so far removed from the rest of us commoners that you're like, well, yeah, do you know what I'm going through right now?
I'm going through.
Yeah, they're like, just drop $1,300 on my course, and you're like, well, I don't have $1,300, bro. I'm a parent with 4 kids, and you're like, oh, yeah, and then they're like, oh, you can find $1,300. It's like, well, yeah, I could if I went and robbed a bank. But I think being down is not a bad thing, man. I think you're 100% more relatable. You understand the struggles that these people are going through. You're more closer to the problem, like the source of the problem, which is the pain points, and you're better well served to fix them.
Okay, James, I want to ask you a couple more questions on video, and then we want to talk about those 4 beautiful kids of yours. Okay,
sure.
So yeah, a couple more questions about video, because this is really, really good content.
Thanks, man.
One, what if I'm ready to do video, I hear your message, James, I'm excited, I'm pumped up, I've actually gotten ideas from Amazon and from these other sources you've suggested, but I don't have a high-tech professional camera, I don't have a green screen or even a white screen. What kind of equipment can I use to get decent video?
Yeah, well, funny you should mention this, man. I'm actually doing a webinar on this in a couple of weeks.
I didn't know that. That's cool. That's cool.
It'll be all that smartphone video, right?
Nice.
Let me, I'm actually going to do this on Sunday. I'm going to do a behind-the-scenes shot, right? Because I think people can probably relate to my situation. So I bought a $100 lighting setup. It's a 3-point lighting setup off eBay. It's $100. I think it's the best investment that I made. I already had a camera, a fancy camera, and then I went into my garage and I found a brick wall that I thought looked pretty cool, and I just set my tripod up with the back wall in the distance. Okay.
Yeah, your set looks nice, by the way, James. I really like you.
Yeah, and the reason I'm going to do a behind the scenes shot is because everything that's not in that shot, there's like rubbish and toys and like toy boxes. It's like piled up, man, and everything's just pushed to the side apart from this one visual shot of the camera. Yeah. So and that's the thing. Like I want to get across to people is like I'm literally just a 27-year-old dad of 4 girls who's trying to make his way in the world, and it's not perfect. It's not it's not 5-star. It's not. I don't live in a mansion or anything like that. I live in the suburbs, and I drive like a Kia little hatchback. It's not pretty, right? None of it's pretty. But it's how and the reason why I think people watch my videos, and I've been told this, the reason why people watch my videos is because I bring a lot of energy and I bring a lot of, just fun to the video, right? And I think that's really important. So I wouldn't worry too much about your backdrop. If you have a cream wall and you own your house, throw a coat of paint on it, like go out and get like some charcoal grey if you can and just paint the wall. If you can't paint the wall, just stand in front of the cream wall, put some stuff up, put a shelf up, put some interesting things on the shelf behind you. And then, the one thing though, like if people are like, I don't have anything, and, you can shoot it on your smartphone, but there's 2 things I want you to buy. And I know that, buying things, whatever, but 2 things I want you to buy, a tripod or a Gorilla Pod and a Rode SmartLav Plus.
Now, what's a Gorilla Pod?
A Gorilla Pod, mine's in my bag, but it's like a really flexible tripod that you can sort of spin around and hook it onto like bars and poles and walls and stuff.
Perfect.
Super versatile, super amazing, can hold an expensive camera, can hold a smartphone, can hold a GoPro, all that sort of stuff, right? They're really the two things that you need. A Rode SmartLav Plus is just a little lavalier microphone, so it's really going to up your audio game. And that's the biggest thing with video, right? We can excuse bad video, but we can't excuse bad audio.
Bad audio. Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the Rode goes for about $50, I think, in the US. It's like $70 here in Australia.
Okay.
And yeah, the GorillaPod, I think I bought mine for like $30, so you guys will be able to get it even cheaper again. Or, or buy a tripod. The other option, if you don't have the money for a tripod, go down to like your local Kmart, Walmart, wherever you are hanging out, buy yourself a selfie stick. I know everyone's like, oh, James, I don't want a selfie stick. But let me explain why you need a selfie stick. The selfie stick gives you one solid point of holding. How many times have you seen people make videos, Bellagio, and they're holding it, and it's like Michael J. Fox has got it, right? Like it's just shaking all over the spot.
Of course. Right.
We're getting seasick because it's going everywhere. A selfie stick means you can hold it with both hands. Your arms are out of the shot, because if you hold your phone with both hands, you get the ugly forearm, bicep, shoulder look. But if you've got a selfie stick, you can just jack it up a little bit, and you can hold it with two arms so it's stabler. I'm not going to say super stable, and just talk to the camera, right? And my friend Tom Newman out of the UK, he's got a really couple of cool videos called the Rule of Two-Thirds, right? And there's a cinematography rule of two-thirds. So imagine your phone was split into, if you're doing it on your phone, imagine the screen was split into three, and try and only take up two of those 3/3.
Got it.
Because that's really going to help you. You got a little bit of background there, and it's just a cinematography thing. I think it looks nice.
That's right.
You'll always sort of see me in my videos sort of move to one side for a little bit, come back to the middle, and then move to the other side.
Okay.
And that's sort of trying to follow that rule of 2/3.
Very cool stuff. Last one on video.
Yeah.
You have a whole course on this, but I want to give folks a taste.
Yeah.
Because I was on your webinar a couple of days ago, and it was brilliant stuff. Okay. We all want to reach influencers in our industry. What's one hack? What's one shortcut that we could use to get their attention? Because these folks are busy. They get approached every day. They get emails every day asking them to do stuff. How can we break through that noise with video?
Yeah. And there's a couple of things that I tell people to do, right? Firstly, and this is really quickly, just ask them for their input on a particular topic on Twitter, and then screen grab their response. And then work that into the video, and then you can tag them on Facebook. You can tag their page on Facebook, and also tag them on Twitter when you share the video on YouTube. That does two things, right? That associates your name with people, so people who are discovering you for the first time go, hey, Bellagio and James know each other. I didn't know that, and they come and check it out because, I've asked you for your input on, like, how do you parent when you're hungover? I don't know, it's something, right? Like, something obscure like that, and I've asked your opinion, and I cut you in and say, hey, Bellagio, I sent a tweet out to him, and this is his response on the particular topic, and you just blur it up, and I've got a video that I did that with Nick Loper and Amy Schmidhauer as well. And the second thing I've done, and that actually worked really, really well, is I just reached out and collaborated with some people. Now, we're talking about influencers, right? And I would say aim for, let's talk it as like celebrities, because I think that's easy. So if the influencers are A-list celebrities, let's aim for B-list celebrities. B-list celebrities have a little bit more time, but know the A-list celebrities, but are more open to approaches from us D-class. Okay? So Keith Griffiths, who runs the Online Creators Launchpad group, he and I jumped on Skype a couple of weeks ago, and we just had a really great chat as mates. And that was the first time we chatted, and we got along really well. And I said to him at the end, I said, hey, man, I'd love to do some work with you. Unfortunately, you're in Boston. I'm here in Canberra. How about I put out a challenge to your group, record the video, send it to you, and you can add your bits on the front and back, okay? And immediately, we had collaborated on a video project. And,
wow.
And, typically that's the best way to grow your following on YouTube and that sort of stuff is collaborating with other creators. But, as our economy grows, as this world economy and this global economy grows, and where more and more people are getting on from remote places trying to hustle and trying to make their world, their life happen, their business grow, we can't always be traveling to make these collaborations happen. So you've got to come up with innovative ways. So, I put out a challenge to the group. I said, I really want to hear how this group has helped you because it's helped me a lot. record a message, blah, 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 blah. And then Keith came on and, like, he introduced it and he gave the specifics of the challenge. And then he sent it out his group, which is like 1,100 people. And then, you know, that in itself now means that 1,100 people have seen my face and seen my name associated with Keith as, you know, I'm not calling Keith like a B-list celebrity. Keith, if you're listening to this, you're an A-class right? But, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he was more than open to the approach, but I think you're right. If you go straight out the gate, you try and approach, you know, like the Lewis Howes and that sort of stuff. These guys are super busy doing their own stuff. But if you approach those guys, I think you've got a better chance approaching those guys if they got like a book release or like a product release or something like that. If you want to like collaborate or you want to reach out to them, get their book in your hand and I did this with Keith again. He was holding a webinar and I saw the countdown, so I recorded a quick vine of the countdown, going, oh my god, and I showed my excitement for his webinar. And I shared it with him, and then he shared it with all the people on the webinar, right? And you know, it's just. I go back to being obscure. I don't mean it in like a weird way. Like in a negative term. I mean it in just find the craziest thing you've ever done, the craziest thing you can think of, scale it back until it's like doable, and then just do it. Because I think, you know, it takes a lot of self-confidence, it takes a lot of energy, and it takes a lot of time for us to like invest in that. But man, it is so worth it. It's so rewarding.
I'm taking notes over here, man. This is the business. This is good stuff right here, man.
Thanks,
okay, I'm loving it. We've kind of picked James' brain quite a bit. You've given us some brilliant ideas for video. I'm very excited to see what folks are going to execute. But you also mentioned that you're a dad of 4. Right. Now, last time I checked your site, I thought it was 3 and expecting. It sounds like you've added number 4 recently.
We have.
How your youngest?
She's about to tick over 6 weeks tomorrow.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That was adorable. Congratulations,
Thanks,
sir.
man. Thank you. It's, I mean, it's, you know, this is, and you probably got a question lined up about this, but, you know, it's, you know, none of my friends have kids, right? And, you know, like I said, I'm 27. My wife's about to turn 30. So, you know, we're really young parents, and to have 4 kids is, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you've got 4 kids in 27. But, you know, what? Yeah, man, it is so cool being a young dad because, 1, you have the energy, and 2, you know, you can just, I don't care what people think, right? Like, you know, I go and dance, I dress up. One of my videos, I've actually got to do a video for Entrepreneurial.com on entrepreneurial nightmares, and I'm excited to show you. I think it'd be cool.
That's going to be cool. That's going to be cool. We got Halloween coming up and everything, too.
Exactly.
So, that's going to be really neat. You know, I'm curious to know, James, a little bit about your childhood and how that is reflected in your parenting style right now, both for you and for your wife. So, with your permission, James, we'd like to put you through what we like to call the lightning round. Are you ready to go through the lightning round?
All
right, folks, let's put him through it. Let's put him through it. Here we go. Number 1, favorite superhero, James?
The Phantom.
The Phantom!
Yeah.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Favorite cartoon growing up?
I think growing up it was like Pokemon. I think that was the original Pokemon before it got weird.
Favorite video game?
There was a Star Wars pod racer game, like when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, when they first found Anakin. It was on Nintendo 64, and you used to be able to race around all the tracks as like the pod racer. So that you know, that was I remember like bashing that to death on the Nintendo 64.
Nice. What is a favorite family tradition from your childhood?
We would always go away on holidays, like just with another family of ours. And I remember growing up and, you know, we'd go to these random obscure places and they'd just like be in the middle of the forest and there'd be like this cabin there, a couple of cabins there, and you're like, where are we? And, you know, there's some of the best memories I've got, mainly because I would totally always hurt myself trying to do mad tricks on my BMX bike.
What kind of motivated you as a kid, James?
Oh, man. So much, I guess. Like I was always wanted to be like a creator, like a marketer, and then I wanted to be like a sports teacher, a gym teacher, and I guess it was all sort of driven from communicating with people and connecting with people. Like really, when I think about those 2 jobs, right? Those 2 jobs are really about people. And so I'd probably say connecting with people. I've always been a really good talker. People say I talk too much, and I probably do. But You know what? It cares. I'll roll with it. I'll own that.
That's good stuff. That's good stuff. Now, I don't know if you're willing to share, but we like to get real on here. We want to know one of your most embarrassing moments as a child.
As a child.
As a child, as a preteen, or as a teenager, back in the school days. What's something that kind of stuck with you?
I'm just trying to think. There's been a few. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, that's one. So we had a program at school in year 11, and it was, you would go and sort of do work experience at the in the job that you wanted to do after school. And I wanted to be a sports teacher, gym teacher at that time. And so I was working in my old primary school. Like for us, we don't have middle schools. We go years 1 to 7 at primary school, and then 8 to 12 in high school. Right. So I went back to my primary school, and I was teaching the year 6s, and this little pest, for lack of a better term.
I think you had some better terms.
Yeah, I got some terms, but I'll walk with pets for the G-rated version. Right. He thought it'd be fun to come and dack me. And so he ran up behind me and just yanked down my pants. Luckily my underwear stayed up. But
wow.
This is, I was like 17, and this was in front of like all the year 6s, and I just remember as like a 17-year-old being dacked by like a 10-year-old. I was like, man, all I wanted to do was like punch him in the mouth, and I was like, it was like an embarrassing lesson on restraint. So yeah, I think that's pretty simple. I don't think I've told anyone about that actually.
This is just between me and you, James.
Yeah, and the rest of the world.
Yeah, that's right. So, what was your parents' kind of parenting style? What do you remember about how they parented you?
Yeah, I mean, my dad was a very traditional parent. Still is, when it comes to dealing with my kids. But yeah, my mum was pretty flexible. I remember getting quite a few stern talkings to. I remember the first time I got drunk. Right, the first time I got drunk, I used to go and play tennis on Friday nights at like social tennis, and the boys were like, "Yeah, you can drink." I was like, "Okay," and I got like crap on like 2 beers. And I was meant to be home at 11 because we were going on a family holiday the next morning. I didn't get home till 2 a.m. after my mum came and picked me up and like berated me in the car. And I was due to get my license like 3 days 3 days away, and I remember I got grounded for like 3 weeks, and they're like, I mean, it wasn't even grounded, it was just like, you can't get your license for 3 weeks. It's like, life was over. But, their parenting style was really one of sort of freedom, man. Like, I remember, like, this is back in, like, the 90s and early 2000s. Like, they would just put us on our bike and say, go play. Like, turn off the TV and go play. And we would just disappear. And, they said, be home before 7. And so you just ride all day on your bikes. Like, I lived on a bit of a farm, mini farm. And, there was some really cool stuff. And it was just a lot of freedom. And, it was a really, really good childhood.
And so now that your girls you have 4 girls. How old is your oldest daughter?
9, 4, 2, and 6 weeks.
Okay, they're not. Okay, excellent. So, how does your parents' parenting style transition? How has that affected how you and your wife have decided to parent?
Yeah, my wife and I have decided to parent. I mean, I don't think we've actually like sat down and be like, okay, what do you want to parent like? What do you want to parent like? Yeah, sweet, we're on the same. We sort of parent. Yeah, it's really flexible, right? I'm still relatively young. I want the girls to make decisions on their own because, I don't want them to get to like an age where they'll have had everything done for them. I want them to make a decision. If the decision goes wrong, face the consequences, whether that be like they've mucked up and they've done something wrong and they get punished, or whether they've made a decision, and it hasn't worked out for them. They need to be taught life lessons. I'm probably a lot more protective of them than probably like my parents were, or that I can remember my parents being with me and my sister. But the world's changed, right? Or actually, I actually don't think the world has changed that much. I think the information flow around the world has changed. Therefore, we know more about the bad stuff happening. Rather than back in like the 80s and 90s, you know, you'd have to like get a telegram. A man would show up and go, telegram, and like deliver the bad news to you on the paper. Yeah, so our parenting style is very flexible. You know, probably should be more strict when it comes to bedtime, but it's more like, you know, they have to learn for themselves. And I really try and put the onus down, especially my 9-year-old. You know, like I met my wife when she was 3, and
oh wow.
So, you know, and then I've been dad pretty much since then. And you know, we try and give her as much freedom and as much ownership of her own decisions and her own situations. And I think that really instills in the kids, you know, growth, and they grow really strong, and they grow strong, and they're resilient. And, you know, I just really want her to have a resilient mindset that, you know, when the times get tough, she just doesn't give up. You know, I want her to be able to push through these things. I want her to have tenacity to get her job done, whether it be in schoolwork, whether it be in, you know, friendships and relationships. I just really want her to, you know, be strong, and I think that's really important, especially raising women in today's age, and, you know, men as well, but, you know, women more so in the fact that we need to empower them, and we need to make sure that they are willing to go out and, you know, get the boardroom jobs if that's what they want, or, you know, start their own businesses and believe in themselves and have strong self-confidence in themselves that, you know, what they're doing is right. And if it's not right, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, love that. On that note, we are going to let James go. It's about 6 a.m. where he is right now. Those beautiful daughters are going to be waking up any moment. You've been listening to James Tew. He's the Australian dad behind A Dad's Mission for Success, 7-year Navy vet, content partner with Entrepreneurial.com, and he's been on here telling us how to get connected to influencers through video. This guy knows his stuff. You're going to be hearing a lot more of James Tew. So, James, thank you.
My pleasure, man. It's been a really great start to the morning. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Folks, you've been enjoying the Bravepreneur Parents Academy with Balaji O and James Tew. Until tomorrow, up, and away!
Thanks for supporting my dad's show. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to iTunes. He said hot chocolate is for closers. If you don't subscribe, I don't get hot chocolate. I love hot chocolate.
Fear not. Although this chapter of Bravepreneur Parents Academy has come to its conclusion, we have many more adventures for you and your brave little heroes. Head over to bravequest.me for access to the Brave Quest Journal, an interactive activity playbook that rewards your little ones with points for accomplishing tasks that build character and unleash your child's inner superhero all before bedtime. We look forward to having you join us for more adventures next time on Bravepreneur Parents Academy.